You must be Steve.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Mike.
Okay.
Here's my card.
Thank you. Come on in.
Thank you, sir.
Come
Thank
on
you.
in. Oh, you're a pipe doctor.
That's me.
I've been watching your videos for 1 year.
For just 1 year?
Just 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah, I caught onto YouTube. I'm like, whoa, this guy is good. I bought the house.
Okay, I try to impress and try to do the right thing. Tell me some history.
I bought the house in 2000.
25 years now.
25 years. Yes.
Quarter of a
Yes.
century. Look at that.
Yes.
And you're a 100-year-old home.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
And Bryant system, steam
Okay.
system. I can't, once winter comes in, October comes in, I'm in this house every day. I babysit this thing.
Let's go see.
I babysit. This is my, let me show you this. This is, I sometimes always see you come in the house, you want to see where the
Cryotherm. Look at that.
It's an old baby,
That's
right?
an old baby, yeah.
Yes, yes.
All right, so now this thermostat located in your living room, right? Your front door is right there.
Right.
Right? You're a center hole colonial.
Yes.
First thing I said when I woke up, people are like, wow, this house is nice.
Yes.
You have a nice center hole colonial.
Yes.
You have a living room, you have a side den, you have the dining room, you have your kitchen, and you have this 100-plus-year-old home. And
Yes.
that thermostat has been there for, I don't know, since the boiler was installed, probably.
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
And it is in the right location.
It is.
And I'm going to tell you a couple facts that are going to make sense right after I say them. When this house was built, steam heating was a premium luxury upgrade for whatever kind of heating system they could install.
Okay.
And back then, we didn't have the luxury of machines at the red pipe. Everything was done by hand.
Okay.
So every single radiator was piped in by hand with an apprentice and or a mechanic that threaded everything and oiled everything and put it all together.
Right.
And you best believe if you paid an extra $1,000 for this heating system, right, complete by the way,
Right.
maybe even less, right?
Right.
You best, and everything was wrapped with asbestos because it needed to retain the heat.
Yeah.
You best believe that if you as the homeowner, that system ran perfectly.
Yes.
And every radiator in every room got warm at the same exact time as long as the radiators were open.
Okay.
Right? Not partially open.
Right.
The radiator valves were fully open,
Yes.
and the house heated perfectly.
Okay.
And over time, you know, these knuckleheads or people who think they need a counterclockwise screwdriver, you know, to unthread something,
Yeah,
unscrew
right.
something, they came into the picture and started making changes. But that thermostat has been at that, probably been in that location from the day it was built because it is a central part of the home.
Okay.
Now, granted, it's probably a single zone system. You just maybe have other zone of heat somewhere else, different type of heat, but you have steam heat. So when that thermostat comes on, you're turning on that light switch and it's boiling water to create steam, which is going to travel 35, 40 miles an hour to all the radiators
Right.
and get all hot, hopefully all at the same time. And it retains the heat for quite some time.
Right.
So it's in the perfect location.
Okay.
Perfect location. And that's an old school Honeywell cryotherm. Beautiful, beautiful thermostat. And it actually runs on 24 volts to operate the clock.
Oh, okay.
And and there's the clock. And behind that is your mercury.
Okay.
There's that mercury bulb. And I gotta tell you something, as sophisticated as all these Wi-Fi thermostats are, the Nest, you know, the EcoBees of the world that have flooded with marketing us, these manufacturers flood the market with all this good stuff. Nothing beats that piece of that vial right there with that little bit of mercury in there, because nothing is as accurate as that.
Okay. There it is. Let me get some light in here.
Yeah. So what you have now, you lived here for 25 years.
Yes.
You have your gas-fired steam boiler.
Yes.
And you have an A.O. Smith gas-fired water heater, which is installed improperly, by the way. This water heater, which is a 50-gallon water heater,
Yes.
is 40,000 BTUs, and the mechanical code states, and I get it, this has been replaced by whoever replaced it. It was like that, so they put the new one in the same way.
Right.
This vent pipe is 3-inch. It needs to be 4-inch.
Oh, okay.
And I get it, that was there before.
Yes, it was.
But you may have had a 36,000 BTU water heater before, and this is what's installed now.
Yes, because it was smaller than this. I put a jacuzzi in here, and I said to myself, I want more. I probably need more water.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll test before we leave. We'll turn on the water heater and we'll put our hand here.
Yes.
And we'll make sure that the exhaust gases are going up 100%, nothing is spilling out of here.
Okay.
This is a diverter, and you have similar one right there. So now, okay, so that takes care of the water heater.
And one other issue I have.
There's no issues, only solutions.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. I do not trust this.
Okay.
It used to work. If the water went down to here, it would kick on.
Yep.
Now, sometimes when it goes down, I'm testing it, it doesn't kick on. And another thing, all right, here's my add water. I put this on so in case someone in the house, my son, daughter, and wife see it, manually you can put it. But guess what? To me, something's wrong because this is cold water, I believe. Someone told me this should be on this side and warm water should be going into the boiler.
Yeah.
So it's on the wrong pipe. And to me, and I'm saying I saw this, and I said this was like this when I bought the house. Maybe it used to be right here, but for some reason it's not anymore. So that was another issue. But every night I come down here twice a day, in the daytime and the nighttime, and I have to manually put water in it. But I go to other people's houses, and the water level's always the same, and it's good. But in my house, this thing is...
You're adding water how many times a day?
At least once a day I'm adding water.
For how long has this been going on for?
Couple of years.
Okay, so 5 years ago or so, you weren't adding water once a day.
No.
Okay, once a week or once a month.
Yeah, once a week. I always eyeball it. Every time I walk down, it's off all summer, and I still eyeball it.
Now, one of the first, I don't want to interrupt.
Yeah.
One of the things you said when we first met your front doors, you've been watching my channel for a year.
Yes.
So you've probably watched a bunch of my steam videos.
Yes.
So that I'm sure you know, or you're going to learn that adding water once a day is a problem.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And forget about the effects of adding water once a day. We have to think about where this water is going. Right?
Yes.
Where the water's going. So in the steam heating system, either you're going to lose water. Forget about evaporation. Forget about that. That's out of that. That's it's not relevant.
Okay.
If you're adding water more frequently than average, than normal, right? Where's the water going? Either it's leaking out. Either maybe a wet return is leaking, not seen somewhere. Maybe you have an underground wet return. No, not yet. Hold on. Right? Or you have air valves that are continuously hissing when the system is running because of another issue.
Okay.
Right? So the hissing sound is going to be steam, leaving the system. Right? If it goes and stops,
that's okay.
That's different. That means that the valve itself is closing. Exactly, it's closing. But if it's, you're going to love it because you're going to have a nice humid home, and in the winter especially, you're not going to have the dryness of your throat, the nose, what have you, congested, things like that. But your something is going to suffer, and that's going to be your boiler. Because replacing water, adding fresh oxygenated water to a cast iron pot over and over and over again is going to slowly cut a hole from the inside out above the water line, and then you're going to need a new boiler.
And this is why sometimes when I sweep under here, I get a few rust pieces.
Yeah, so we're going to let's halt the conversation there and let's talk about dollars and cents, because my office told you we have a trip charge, right?
Yes.
First, drive out the house, first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then, again, I don't know what needs to be done here yet, but I like to pull information during that initial meet and greet, should I say?
Yes.
That way we can proceed accordingly.
Okay.
I'm just going to take a quick look, and we can fill this boiler up. If it passes a leak test, we're good, and we should proceed accordingly with servicing the boiler. If it fails a leak test, you need a new boiler. I could do whatever you like from there, but it needs to be replaced. Just because the matter's not going to go away, you have a gunshot wound to your chest.
Yes,
you need to go to the hospital. You have a Band-Aid on it, but it's still leaking, and it's not going to stop until you get patched up. In this case, you'd have to replace the boiler.
Right.
Now, back to what I was saying before with overview things. You have a Bryant or a branded. It's Bryant stickers on there, but it's not made by Bryant.
Right.
It's made by the Dunkirk Boiler Company.
Yeah.
Which is
right here.
Right there.
And look, etched 1989. Somebody etched it twice. So when I came, I said, "Oh, that's good." 5/11, 1989 on the bottom. He etched it twice.
So
that's good.
The Dunkirk boilers, any car will get you from point A to point B. Some cars are designed for, more comfort. Some are designed just for efficiency. Some are designed to, look flashy, right? I am not a fan of the side tapping boilers like this one for the Dunkirks.
Right.
The steam should be coming out of the center of the boiler.
Right.
In a one pipe, smaller
Isn't
boiler.
that it right there? Isn't this the
No. Well, this is the center. The center here is your exhaust.
Okay.
Right. On most steam heating, we're talking about residential, not talking about commercial. You have, depending on the size of the boiler, you'll have one or two tappings out of the top, and depending on how large the boiler is, you'll use both of them, tie them in together, and then here is your supply pipe come up. Feed your things and then come back. However, what's wrong here is the elevation or the height of the Hartford loop off the floor, because that needs to be centered with your sight glass, and your sight glass center is right there, marked by the water level, and that should be right here. But except yours is all the way down there. Now that's not really relevant in the operation of the boiler. It's just that would piss off the Hartford Steam Boiler Insurance Company from the 1920s, right?
Okay.
Because they designed the Hartford loop, which, whatever, it works, to prevent boilers from running empty.
And I was one of my questions for you.
Yes.
I watch your videos. Do I have the loop? And you just said I have the loop.
Yeah, you have a loop.
It's
lower than normal.
So is this it here? Is that it right there?
Yes. So this T and this short close 90.
Right.
Sorry, this short close nipple and this 90. This heel T. Sorry, 90. This heel T. It's a T because there's
Right.
And then there, this picks up your condensate return. Which, let's see what this is.
Which is brand new. Which is I had this put in.
Very nice.
I had this put in.
Now, okay.
Recently.
Yes. So this 1-inch pipe.
Yes.
Wow. Very nice.
And I have a little leak here.
Yeah, I see you have your basement zone for hydronic heating. You
think-
oil that?
I think, yes, I've been oiling it.
Good.
In 3 parts. 1, 2, and 3.
Perfect.
But it started leaking. So
Water or oil?
I have it right there on the...
Was it leaking?
It's for that.
No, is it leaking oil or water?
Oh, oil.
Okay,
Oil. It drops.
So, listen, it's the right circulator.
Yes.
For this, because it can withstand a nuclear blast.
Yes.
Unlike the cartridge circulators, which are going to get gummed up with all the sludge that's normally in a steam boiler. It probably can be salvaged.
Okay.
I keep it real. I
Yes.
always do. I've never salvaged or rebuilt a B&G Series
Right.
100.
Right.
But I'm not saying there's not always a first. But if it can be repaired,
Right.
we can repair it. I just don't have the parts for it. We have to order it for you.
I
Or you
heard
can
I may
order it.
just need a gasket or something.
Well, it depends on where it's leaking from. But if it's
Yeah.
leaking from the body itself,
Right.
and there's a fracture in it, then you'd have to replace this.
Oh, okay.
Right. If it's leaking from the seals here with this impeller thing,
Right.
coupling is that could be replaced. If
Okay.
it's leaking from the circulated flange gasket, that can also be replaced.
Okay,
Let's take a look
gotcha.
underneath. But it's leaking oil, you said. So it's
Yes, and here it is right
yeah,
here.
So, oh yeah, it's right there. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. Yeah.
The only...
All right, we're gonna take a look under the hood. I already removed the access cover, and you're gonna see we got some rust in there already. Let's shine the light on this bad boy. Okay, we have these nice cast iron burners, and yeah, you got something going on in there. I don't know why there's like water stains, rust stains there.
Mm-hmm.
And the top, we're gonna have to take some burners out of here, but let's. So you're adding water once or twice a day during the heating season.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There's your remote probe for the low water cutoff. Why does it look like that? Interesting. Let's take a look in the fluid, the diverter. Yeah. All right. So just for, I guess, shits and giggles, we'll identify components. You were pointing to your low water cutoff before and your automatic water feed.
Yes.
Your low water cutoff is what we call a remote probe low water cutoff. This is just the control box for it. It's just screwed to the sheet metal. It's connected to the probe, which sits in the water level of the boiler. And when it senses insufficient water, it prevents boiler operation, and then it sends a signal to terminals on the low water cutoff, which is going to feed or send the signal to the automatic feeder to tell them to turn on, to fill the boiler back up. I'm not a fan of these because as a service and repair contractor, I see, things when people are in there like, it's bad, and these things fail in the open position in flood homes. And that results in significant, in some cases, water damage. Okay. And you're putting in a claim with your insurance company, and they're going to pay X amount of dollars. But just so you know, I don't like those. Okay. And it is installed on the cold water line, right? Which it really should be hot water if available, right. Which is what this line is. Right there. That's on your hot water line. Domestic hot water is domestic cold water. This is called a backflow prevention device. It lets water travel only one direction. It's a code requirement. There, since this is hooked up, there also should be one on there as well. This is your ignition control module to fire up the flame. Yes. That's your gas valve that works with the ignition system, the intermittent pilot ignition system. Your sight glass, and the water level should be normally halfway, 5/8 full. Mm-hmm. This is your pigtail, right, which protects the pressure troll from the latent heat that this produces, protecting it, basically. Yes. They do clog, and if you have a clogged pigtail, you will have an inoperable pressure troll, and you could have a boiler that's running at more pressure than normal, and then that will cause air valves to hiss continuously because they're not designed to hold back, 5, 10, 15 pounds of pressure. They're designed to operate within, that quarter pound, half a pound of pressure, which is what...
One year it was clogged and it wouldn't fire off.
Yes, because it'll just prevent it. It thinks there's too much pressure in there, so the pressure troll stays open, right? Not closed, open, and will prevent that burner circuit from energizing.
Yes,
hence
it happened to me once.
This is called a spill switch.
Right.
If the gases exhaust gases are not going up the chimney, they are spilling out of the reverter. Yeah. And you may have a rollout switch there, which you do not. Okay. And that's it for identification. Now, the piping. Yes. Forget about where it's leaving the boiler. It is coming up very high, and then it picks up 2 steam mains here, and then it comes back around. This is called your equalizer. Good morning. Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. How are you? And this equalizes the pressure from the steam that's leaving and coming back, and that goes to the top of your Hartford Loop T, which it picks up your condensate return, which then goes to your bottom of your boiler. And this right here is your loop, your hydronic loop with that B&G 100 circulator.
During the season, I often open this up to get the dirty water. Yep. I notice my water gets dirty when I'm running the circulating pump for the basin. Yep.
For time purposes, we're going to open up this valve.
I have this off right here.
Doesn't matter. Okay. We're going to watch the water level increase. We're going to fill up the boiler to the... Is there a bucket down here in case we need to use it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, right. We're going to fill up this boiler. Mm-hmm. And we're going to see if we have any water leaking down below. Okay. So right now we're almost up there. Let's take a quick peek, see if we see anything yet. Nothing yet. Okay. So she's at the top of the sight glass. We're going to go for another 30 seconds. We're going to get the water kind of up to here. Mm-hmm. And then we are testing the heat exchanger or the cast iron block that you don't see behind all the pretty sheet metal. Mm-hmm. And we're going to see if it's dripping any water in there. So we're going to close that. And we're going to wait a few minutes, a minute or two, and we'll take a peek downstairs, down below, because I don't really hear anything yet. Okay. And then we can determine where those water's going, then we continue with service that you wanted to have. Right. All right, the boiler is completely full of water. I'm just going to add a little bit more water to there. And then I want to point out an issue that I'm seeing with the water heater right now. Because I just had my hand on top of it, and it's a concern for me. So I just want to go over that with you guys. I'm just adding a little bit more water to the boiler. And I am not happy with what's going on there. So We're gonna get a like a paper towel and a lighter, and we're gonna do a draft test, smoke test. I just want to show this to you guys. So we have a lighter, we have the exhaust, and if it blows out the flame, all right, that means the exhaust gases are dumping into the house. Instead of being sucked into the diverter, you know, that's, if you put your hand there, not where the flame is on, but you will see or feel, so like right there, it's kind of like sucking in a little bit, but we have spillage there. None there. And you can even tell by the anode rod starting to melt there. See, the exhaust gases are coming into the basement. So if you put your hand here, you'll feel, careful, just don't touch the metal. You'll feel that heat.
Yes, you feel the heat.
Yeah, and that is exhaust gases dumping into your basement right now.
Wow.
Yeah. And if this was what we call a red tag state, I could legally turn off and disconnect the gas, not to the house, but disconnect the gas to this appliance because it's a hazard.
Okay.
All right. You need to take care of that immediately. I know. I am sure this wood here has been installed for X amount of time. I have no idea how long it's been installed, but this needs to be investigated. Maybe there's something wrong with the chimney, right, where you don't have negative draft, allowing natural convection to occur and exhaust go up because you're spilling out here.
Okay.
You can feel it. You need to take care of that, and it could be as simple as making sure this is forage, or there could be a drafting issue of the home. It could be an issue with the chimney. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Oh my God, they're still wire tied. These burners have never been taken out.
Wow.
Wow.
I noticed you on your videos. You cleaned them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you look, there's a wire on each burner. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. These burners have never been taken out.
So much for this guy right here. We won't mention his name, but
oh yeah.
Yeah.
But some guys like to just brush them off.
Yeah. I haven't called them.
Some guys like to brush them off, but there's this wire. Let's see if I can get on the other side. Otherwise, I have to really like. Let's see if I get underneath there. All right, we could. I got my hand on it.
You know, I grew up in the East Elmwood Plains, and we had oil.
Yeah. All right, I was able to get one out. Okay. There's one. And now that one is out, I should be able to get the other ones out as well. Those little straps, shipping straps holding each cast iron burner in. See them right there? All right, there's the last one. Come on, baby. Get out of there. Okay, that was the last shipping retention wire. Now, the last burner. Oh, there's something not right here. There's too much rust. The boiler's filled, and there's rust inside the burner too. Like, those are okay, but from 1981, these have never seen the light of day outside the boiler.
89.
89? Oh, okay.
Yep.
That was close.
And they've never been out the boiler. Nope.
Wow.
Shipping strap.
Why is there so much rust here?
I believe it's coming from, well, I'm guessing.
This
what do you call the part that holds the water?
That holds the water?
Yeah.
I don't know, a pipe?
No. I thought like, and it's something you could probably buy, the channels, like the radiator. You know?
Oh, the sections? The cast iron?
Yes.
Yeah, but we have the boiler filled. You know what? Let's take a peek under the hood.
Twice since I've been in the house.
Okay, so there's definitely something was going on here, because this.
Must be coming from the.
No, that's clean. It's coming from somewhere. Yeah, this is just chipping away. Look, there's nothing left of the rod there. It's not originating from here, right? But the rod, there's nothing left of this rod, which is literally holding the sections together. Look at it. It's nothing. There's nothing left of it.
It's thin out right there.
Very, very thin. And those are like tension bars. It's actually there to, and there's one on the other side. There's one here, and the threaded ends. And when we cut these, when we're taking out a boiler, they snap apart and they jump like 20 feet. They'll run away. But the fact that there's nothing left there, I'm just cautious even touching it.
Right.
At this point.
Yeah.
Like you have, what is up with this? That is your zone. So when they wired in this circulator zone, oh man, this is not nice. This is not right. That's what they did. They ran power from there, your boiler switch, feeding the switching relay for the circulator zone, and however that gets its power. Is there a thermostat in the basement, right?
There's a thermostat, yes, for the circulating part on the other wall.
Yeah. And there's just so much. Look at it, it's crumbling apart. This is sections of your boiler. All right, I have all the cast iron burners removed. I took a nylon brush, made sure that all the tubes are clean. I banged them out. That's all the dirt that came out by banging them. I have the combustion chamber vacuumed out. I sprayed down the gas manifold with WD-40, and also that area that's all rusted up. I'm not going to touch the line voltage going to there, but it is rusted, and that's why they wrapped it with electric tape. Here's that probe that we spoke about, the remote sensing probe for the low water cutoff. We're going to test low water cutoff once we put the burners back in and vacuum everything up and check electrically the components of the system. There are 4 burners on this boiler. We disconnected the pilot burner assembly from this one, which was the 3rd from the left or 2nd from the right. We're going to put that back in, keeping that in the same position, and then reconnecting after cleaning. Crazy. I don't think a nylon brush is going to save this bad boy, but oh, look at that. Just a lot of cocky built up on that thing. Probably take a soft bristle brush, steel soft bristle brush, and clean that, but we'll see how that works. Right now it's much better than it was before. Okay. These little air dampers. They go in there.
I know sometimes you talk about the proper airflow coming into the system.
Yes, combustion air.
Right, okay.
So in order to have combustion, the burning of fuel, you need oxygen or the proper amount of combustion air for a system. Now, if this was a new construction home to current code, mechanical code, there shall be means mechanically that the boiler or the furnace or the heating system gets fresh air. And that's usually done with either fan in a can or bringing in, like a duct cut in high and one cut in low. It's measured properly. That would bring in fresh combustion, fresh combustion air from outside.
But, okay, what about like I have this window right here?
So you essentially have a confined space here is what you have, right? You have a 40,000 BTU gas-fired water heater. I didn't even take a look at the dryer if that's gas or not. And then you have, it's electric, and then you have this boiler, right? So you need to have the proper amount of air that, I knew that was going to happen. They're all popping out. You need to have the proper amount of air in order for these things to be happy,
Right.
you know? So, and that's usually done with some kind of mechanical system in place where it allows for that.
Because one of the things that I was concerned with, well, okay, it's the heating season. Maybe I need to crack the window and keep it cracked.
Yes, so that window being open may not even be enough, sufficient to give it a proper amount of air. It may not be. I would have to look and see how many BTUs this boiler is and how much air, how much makeup air is needed. It's called makeup air.
But some people could put a fan there and blow air in.
You could do that too, yeah. But then also you have, you know, a lot of people risk, you know, maybe burglary. You know, you have, you know, people with bad intentions, things like that. But that's why there's mechanical means that are more permanent.
I was worried.
All right, all the burners are in place, and don't worry about the WD-40 residue. It's not going to blow up, fellas. Don't worry. I wouldn't do you dirty like that. All right, all the burners are back in. Front cover's on. Wire from the intermittent pilot ignition module's in place, and my pilot tubing is tight. We're draining the boiler right now. We're going to test the water level of the low water cutoff, and I should probably get a little hose because this is going to be forever. First bucket. There's our water level slowly making its way down. We're going to go down to right around there and make sure that light comes on the low water cutoff, and then we'll see how it energizes the automatic water feed. All right, water level is just about disappeared. Our light is on the low water cutoff. We're gonna keep going. We'll see what we get out of the bottom of the boiler. But it's been about 20 seconds now. We're gonna see, yeah, there you go. There's the feed indicator light flashing. It's gonna have a delay, slight delay. Could be 1, could be 4 minutes. But there it is, so about 1 minute or so. And now it's feeding fresh, oxygenated cold water, domestic cold water into the boiler. Let's close this. We're gonna watch it fill. Now it is usually on a timer, so it'll time out after X amount of time has been completed. I thought I just saw that flash for a second. Still solid. Our water level is slowly going up. Looks like we're about an inch over the top. That light is flashing. All right, so the fill operation has completed, and we no longer have a low water condition. So the low water cutoff sensed insufficient water and sent the signal to the automatic feeder, and it filled it to a slightly lower than normal level, but still it did feed it. All right, pigtail's back into place. We took that apart and blew through the pigtail. She's clean. Pressure control set for 2 psi. The water level is about a third way up on our sight glass. We'll raise it up in a little bit before I turn the boiler back on. And before the water heater kicks back on, let's go to our Testo 320 combustion analyzer. I've had it plugged in since I've been here, which, oh my God, it's 10 o'clock already. Unbelievable. Time flies, look at that. So right now it's zeroing out, 25 seconds. We're going to turn this on first and then turn on the boiler. Now, in order to do a combustion analysis on a fuel burning appliance, we need to have a proper place to insert our probe into that fuel burning appliance. So for example, if we're going to test the combustion gases on this A.O. Smith natural gas fired water heater, we want to be inside the flue, but like an inch or two below, because we don't want to dilute it with this air that's here. And the same thing applies to the boiler. This is that diverter. We're going to drill a hole approximately 6 inches off the top of the boiler, so probably right around there. And as you see on this flue, it has never been done. So we are going to drill for the first time, excuse me, a hole. A little bit more. There you go. So there's our hole. Let's fire up the combustion analyzer, fire up the boiler. Actually, no, let's fire up the boiler first. Sorry, I already had the homeowner crank up the heat all the way to the highest setting. So we know this boiler will turn on and fire up. The pilot burner is secure, all the burners are in place. I still have that front cover removed. Once it proves that there's water, there's our tick. There's ignition, pilot, and main ignition. So now all the burners are up and running, and no violent boom as maybe someone inexperienced may have expected, especially since there's WD-40 residue and everything, but we are good. The boiler is running. We have blue flame on there, but we got some yellow on this there. We'll have to test, because if you ain't testing, you're guessing. We're going to test those combustion gases. Give this a few minutes to heat up. Stick our probe right there. And one of the things that we test at Pipe Doctor is that the safety components of it are correct. This is a 15 psi relief valve. That is correct. Steam needs to have 15 psi. Okay. Ambient temperature looks like it's 79 degrees, 21.1 O2. No carbon monoxide. Everything else is 0 right now, or nothing. Let's get our probe inserted. Go all the way in, back out halfway, and we take our reading from that point right there. Now, a steam boiler is going to have a higher T-stack or temperature stack than a typical cast iron hydronic boiler, because we're boiling water, so keep that in mind. And I'll go over our O2 and our CO and our draft and our gross efficiency and our CO2. We'll go over that in a minute. All right, our numbers are still climbing on our stack temperature, but things that haven't been changing is our O2, which is 6.9%. We're at 31 parts per million, or some people call particles per million of carbon monoxide, CO. Forget about that 82.9 for right now. We'll get that to in a minute. 7.85% of CO2. Back up to the top. Our stack temperature approaching 400 degrees. And for numbers for reference, when you have an atmospheric venting or natural draft gas boiler, you want a stack temperature between 325 and 500 degrees. Now, those are considered normal. O2, 4 to 9%, CO2, 6.5 to 8%, and the most important, and this is the primary reason why we do this and have a combustion analyzer, carbon monoxide. Industry standard is less than 50 parts per million. We're not talking about the gas pressure, we're not talking about anything else right now, we're just talking about these numbers using a combustion analyzer. Doesn't matter if you use a field piece, testo, back rack, what's the other one? I forgot what it's called, but we have one of those as well. But doesn't matter the brand. Numbers and testing are all the same. So our stack temperature is still slowly climbing, but it looks like we're going to be settling in the low 400s. O2 hasn't changed, 6.8, so that's dead center where it needs to be. CO2, 6.5 to 8, and our CO2 down there is 7.9. So we're right below where we need to be with that. And carbon monoxide, we're looking for under 50, and we're at 34. Now, if this boiler was newer, and again, speaking with experience, I know that gas valve there, they get temperamental. We could make some adjustments here. Let's take a look and see how our flame is. Our flame calmed down. Our flame calmed down. And I'm inclined to lower the gas pressure a little bit, and that's what I'm going to do right now off camera. Now, I did try to make a gas pressure adjustment with that intermittent pilot gas valve. We have 1/2 inch in, 3/4 out. Look at that. Huh, how many BTUs is this boiler? 120,000. Series. That says 120. Almost, yeah, it says 120. Faded. But we have 1/2 inch in, 3/4 out. And I can't make an adjustment to the gas valve, just as I predicted, so we're good. Let's clipboard these results. Let's take our probe out. Let's escape. We're going to go to draft measurement, hit OK. It's going to count down for 11 seconds. And then once that is done, we're going to put our probe above the draft diverter, and then below the draft diverter you're going to see a difference. Or maybe not. Ready? Here we go. Remember, we're looking for negative draft. So we're negative 24 thousandths, right? 10, hundreds, thousandths. Remember this back in school, folks. There's your decimal point. To the right of the decimal point, the first number is the 10th position. Hundreds positions, thousandths positions. So this is 32 thousandths, 28 thousandths of negative draft. We're going to pull this out. Remember that, folks. And now we're going to put it there. And that's where I was always taught for many, many years to keep it. And we are at still negative pressure. And we are at 12 thousandths. We're going to clipboard that. And we're going to print his results. And we're going to have him turn off his thermostat. Time to print. Oh, the battery's still good. This is the first combustion analysis of the 2025-2026 heating season. Not too shabby. All right, the combustion test is done. Now, I normally affix the results to the side of the boiler or the front of the boiler, but I know this boiler, the thermal paper that the printer uses is going to turn black in a short amount of time, so opposite the boiler right here on the wall, little U-line shipping baggie. I have the printout right here, and we'll put a picture of this on our invoice, so we'll have it. We can document this for future service calls. I drilled the hole in the draft hood, top of the draft hood for this water heater. I want to make sure that these numbers are okay, or better than the boiler at least, and they are okay, but the fact that the draft, which is now better, probably because something's not running maybe. Was your wife making breakfast before?
No,
like
just coffee.
Oh, okay. Because now it's like I can keep my hand there, and there's really nothing going on there. Whereas before, it was the flame was being burnt, it was being blown out. So I keep my hand there, and nothing's really happening. So, but we're also verifying that it's okay. So we're gonna clipboard this, and I'm gonna print these results for him.